Hello there, welcome back. Today I want to talk about my Play Differently Model 1. A lot of you guys ask me why I'm using a DJ mixer instead of a regular one, considering I'm not DJing. And I want to go through it and explain why I think it's an amazing instrument and how it boosted my creativity. So let's check it out. So let's start to analyze what this mixer is. Basically, it's a six stereo channel mixer with two AUXes. It has high pass filter and low pass filter, actually low pass filter and high pass filter, and EQ that they called it Sculpt, where you select the frequency and then you can boost or cut. Then it has an amazing master filter, and you can select which tracks go through it. It has two return for the sense, or they can be used as another input. It has a master EQ that I really like, and then it has some facilities that mostly are aimed towards DJ, like the booth that I use actually with my camera, and I use the booth signal out to feed my camera for all of the video I do on Instagram. So that is actually cut a lot of time and make me just record the out, and I have there's a simple EQ. Then there's a 2Q system, the A system that has actually more advanced feature, and a B system. You can decide which channel to send to the queue by just clicking. The A system is just exclusively mute, just one track basically, as you can see. While the B queue, you can select as many channels as you want. Actually, I noticed that if you press the right way, you can have both, even in A. I'm using the B for a nice trick that I will talk about later. So the channel also has, of course, a trim for the gain here, and as you can hear, let's isolate. And next to it, we have distortion. Like, this is just like add a little bit of distortion, or depends, you can hear. And this one, I think it's a very nice head. I usually add when you start pulsating like that, so it adds some harmonics to the sound. I might not analyze every single part of this mixer, because maybe there's something that I don't use, so I'm more analyzing it as a producing standpoint and maybe a live standpoint, and with synths or sampler, whatever you want. I never used it with any CDJ or any other track player, so please forgive me, but I have no clue how this would perform in a DJ situation. I'm sure it's gonna be amazing. Anyway, the channel strip, let's analyze each channel strip. So we have on the top the two aux send. I will show how I use them later. The send one can be decided to go pre-fade or post-fade. Then we have the trim. Then we go into the low pass filter. It's not a full kill filter, so even at the maximum you can still hear it. You cut around 500 Hertz. Then we go inside. Let's check the high pass filter. And then we have the scoped EQ. So you select the So initially I was a little afraid that this EQ would be very, very simple and not very usable, but I have to say that it's pretty amazing because it's definitely not surgical, but allows you to modify the sound very quickly. So, you know, if you want the kick pumping, you know where to go, and in just few moves, you already have a very musical things. And of course, this is crafted for more live usage. But even when I record, I always try to use it a little to the point that I like it. And then we have our fader, of course, and here we can add our track to the filter. The filter has to be turned on. And we have a low pass, high pass, and a resonance. So let's hear how it sounds. Let's add some resonance. Let's try with this one. I love it. These offer such a fun way to play live, especially for producers that are not familiar with the DJ world, like having filters on each channel and plus a master filter. It's just a lot of fun. All right. Let's check the EQ. This is the master EQ, so it can be turned on and off. I like to use it like subtly, but I really enjoy what it does to the signal. My way to use mixer is always like as an instrument, but I like to keep the sound. I mean, I like to use it sparsely and not too much. Like, so when I record the stuff, the way I like to use mixer is always like more sparsely and not exaggerate in recording, because I don't want to have the sound in the computer that sounds already too much distorted or EQ'd. So I like when things are a little more subtle, but you know. So now let's check the aux system. So while this mixer come with just two auxes, that in most of the cases is more than enough, there's a trick to use a third one, and it would be to use QB. So we have these two plus QB. You can feed out these to another effect or whatever, and then just with the press of the button you can decide the level and have basically another Q system. Right now I'm using just the 1 and 2. You can feed back the sound from the Q inside the return, and you got 2, and also the return has this nice trim that go into overdrive. That is pretty nice. The return can be also feed to the master filter or not. What I like to do though is having the return in 2 separate channels. That allows me to have more control on what I'm hearing and be more creative. So right now I have hooked this is basically my fixed setup. I have the Benidub digital echo and the Eventide Space. Those are always hooked, hardwired to my mixer. So let's hear, I have here my reverb. Let's turn it on. So as you can hear, I can decide how much. Let's hear just the drum. I like to have it on a channel because let's say I'm feeding a full drum track to the reverb. I don't want my kick drum to be affected too much by the reverb, otherwise it might be too muddy. So you can hear, well, it's pretty cool, but I might decide that this is too much. So here we are. I can play with the filter to cut out the frequency I don't like. Also, I can decide to go, this is post fader, I can decide pre-fader. So now I just hear what my reverb is doing. And then I can EQ it, and I can decide to feed back into it and create feedback and weird effects, or feed to the other effect, in this case the echo. And that's how I get some cool dub echoes. Let's hear it. So I will explain how I use my Benidub to do dub echo with this mixer in another video. But just quickly, this guy is my favorite echo for this kind of duty. So you have to set up manually the tempo, and then you have to fit it. So here, this is just with the feedback at 0, so you just hear just a little of it. This guy has a filter in itself, but I like to add some filtering in a mixer. From here I can go and using it in some kind of dub way. I really like, for example, to have my dry tracks go into the master filter, but keeping my effect tracks out of the filter. All right. So why do I love the Model1 so much? Well, first, I think it sounds fantastic. Whatever I'm using with it, drum machine, sampler, synths, you name it, I love to sculpt the sound with it. A touch of distortion, the filtering section, the EQ, everything in that mixer is just like adding something that I really love in a very simple way. I love the fact that I have 6 stereo channel, because most of my instruments go through stereo effects, and some instruments are stereo, like the pick comes out stereo, the guitar is stereo. So I like the convenience of just plugging it and not having to mirror on two different, two separate channels as I used to be with a regular mixer. I think the design is spectacular. I love it. I love to touch it. I love to have it in my studio. I think Richie Otin, that designed the mixer, did an amazing job. And of course, he's one of my favorite artists. So when he came out with the idea of a mixer, I was super excited. That's one reason I always wanted the mixer. Is there anything that I would like different? Just one thing. I'd like to have the direct aux. I mean, I work around it because I had to adapt to the fact that I don't have the chance to record every single channel separately. So that in the end become a creativity booster. Before I used to record everything on its channel, on a single different channel on the DAW. That would allow me to have more chance to change the sound, to do more in-depth mixing, but also was a lot of time lost in front of the computer and less music done. Right now, I have to think ahead of the kind of sound I want. I can shape it before and record exactly what I wanted. So the lack of the direct out and the fact that I record most of the time, just a stereo out from the mixer, it enhances my performance and make me more focused. Of course, this might be a problem for somebody else. So sometime when I want to have control and I'm doing more of a complex track, I record the single part one by one. So it would be just one channel at a time in my DAW and then do the mixing inside the DAW. So yes, it's definitely not as convenient as having a full-blown mixer that allows you to do that easily. But I guess that's the only compromise that I had to accept. And again, that boosted my creativity, that actually make me produce a lot more music. Someone can think that is laziness, that you just record a stereo out and then you're basically done. But I think it's the way I like music. It's just my performance, my instinct out of the performance, and then avoid at all costs the long hours of post-production.